I've literally got back to now. I just think it's better just to press record and just start talking. To be honest. Um,
Sound.
so Nottingham, what's it like around there, gig wise?
Oh, there's loads of good gigs around Nottingham, especially kind of for newer acts. I mean, you've got the NCF. That's probably, I think that's the best spot for going in, like new acts, new material. It's run by Helen and Alex NCF in Nottingham. That's great. And then you've got Ben Davis who runs Funny Sods. There's loads and loads of little ones popping up that you can kind of do around Nottingham. And then you've obviously got the pro promoters round
Yeah.
Nottingham who you've got Spiky Mike and Just a Tonic and all that kind of stuff as well round here. So
Okay.
it's pretty hotbed. It's pretty hotbed.
Okay. Would you say it's like one thing I've sort of noticed? I mean, like I've not been doing this long at all, but it seems like it's a bit of a growing market now. It seems like there are more open mics, there are more amateur levels. Is that because there's more comedians who are fighting for spots, or is there just more interest in people going to comedy?
I think it's a bit of both, Dan, mate. I think yeah, there's a people the internet's blown up, hasn't it, with Paul Smith and
Yeah.
the Have a Word lads and Dead Man's Talking and all that kind of stuff. So all the podcasting stuff with the comedians, I think that's probably sparked a lot more interest in people getting into stand up.
Mm.
Um, but then I also think it's kind of like it's just so hard to get gigs. Especially as a new act. So I think a lot of new acts set up their own nights and they compare them and get a load of acts to come and do it at that level who are new acts, and then you get the token pros on those bills as well, which is always nice, for the networking aspect of it. But yeah, I think it's just blowing up a little bit recently, isn't it? On people, everyone's seeing it online.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to go to comedy, so people turn up at gigs, and then let's have a go.
Yeah, completely agree. I think, like online has blown up. I think podcasts, they do have a good place in comedy society. There is a big difference to doing podcasting though and being a comedian on stage. That's not the same as different from being funny in the pub to being funny on stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's two
Yeah,
different things. But no, Chris, cheers for coming on, mate. I was looking forward to this one. Um,
pleasure.
reason for the pod, it's your story. How'd you get into it? Why'd you get into it? And hopefully get some good stories and hopefully share a bit of insight for new and inspiring comedians to, just get up and do it, to be honest. So, we'll go right back to the bedrocks, Chris. How, why, when, not who, that's you, did we get into comedy?
I've always loved comedy, I suppose. Back to sitcom stuff back in the day. I used to do loads of karaoke in the local pub, and I
Brilliant.
used to tell a few bits in between songs, and I was literally the traditional. You should go and do this. You should get on stage and tell us what tell people what you're telling us.
Uh,
I was always a bit of the life and the soul of the party. Um,
and
and
can you
as
sing?
you've, I'm not bad. I'm not bad.
Oh, okay, okay, fair. Okay,
I'm not
cool.
bad. Yeah, I was in a band years ago. We didn't really gig much. We mainly to friends and family.
Brilliant.
Um, it ended because the lead guitarist was my sister's husband, and they kind of broke up. So that kind of ended that. But I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. I can hold my own as a karaoke singer.
What's your
Um,
go-to?
I do. I used to do a lot of like rock stuff. So
Standard, yep.
Bon Jovi.
Oh, yeah, Born to Be My Baby is one of mine.
Oh, right, okay. My staple was You Give Love a Bad Name and Bad Medicine. I think they were the two that
Okay.
I kind of went to on those.
Give,
Um,
give, give loves a bit, bit commercial there, Chris. Can't lie to you.
yeah,
Bit
yeah,
commercial, but
yeah. I always enjoyed doing Wanted Dead or Alive though. That's one of the ones that goes a little bit unheard, but is
yeah.
is class. Like,
I was a Bed
I
of Roses was a go-to as well.
yeah, Bed of Roses. Yeah, I can't get that fucking eye, mate. To be honest with you, I have to
I
get
can't
the
sing. I cannot
okay.
sing. And I owned a pub for 5 years, and I hosted karaoke every Friday night. I had to
Yeah,
host it. I can't sing, and
yeah.
but when you get drunk enough, you know. But I think with karaoke, it's okay to be a bad singer as long as you put effort in. But to be a bad singer and to put no effort in is go up and have fun doing it. But you've got to at least pretend to be having fun if you're shit at
Yeah.
singing.
I love it, mate. I mean, we used to go to a local pub. It was literally falling distance home. It was fucking brilliant. And we used to go up there, and like all my mates had come, and I'd be up there. I'd do 8, 10 songs a night. Like they used to. I got a bit of a following. People would come and do it and whatnot because I was going to
Nice.
be there. But the funniest bit was like my mate Cookie. His sister used to come along, and she was gash, mate, absolute garbage. But she thought she was like Celine Dion. It was
Yes.
amazing. The funny thing about it was the only song she could sing was "Ironic."
I
Alanis
love that.
Morissette. It's the only one she could sing. She used to murder Black Velvet every single Saturday night. But as a bit of a fun, a bit of a joke kind of thing, X Factor and stuff was kicking off around that kind of time, and I convinced her to apply for X Factor, convincing her she was she was going to be the next Leona Lewis. Like,
Oh.
um, I bottled it though, mate. I bottled it. Right at the end, we'd got the forms they were going to be filled in and all this, and in the end, I just had to say, Sarah, you know, I'm taking the piss, don't
Yeah.
you? And it was like, no, a bit rough.
I mean, one thing I mentioned is that in the last couple of episodes, like I'm 33 now, so like, I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a spring chicken, but I'm not, at death's doors yet. X Factor. To be in the mature bracket, you have to be over 25.
Yeah, no, it's
That
mad,
is
isn't it?
fucking ludicrous.
But this is the real sad reality of getting older. And it's like in the comedy world as well, like people have said to me, because I'm 46 now. I mean, when I first started, I'd been 31. And people keep saying it's a young man's game, comedies. It's a young man's game. And, that does play on your mind a little bit. Am I like wasting my time? Is it, am I too late back to the party and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
But yeah, to have like, oh, you're mature, you're older, you're over 25 is like the mature bracket. Are you taking the piss?
That's
That's
such,
young, isn't it?
that's such a joke, isn't it?
It's
Like,
like you're a baby at 25.
yeah, it is, man. So, like, so you say you started for 2010, you used to do like, jokes and stuff in between the karaoke.
Yeah.
And so, like, was you just like dipping your toe, like, casually until you, like, you know what? Let's go and
Yeah.
try it without the singing.
Yeah, and I think a good mate of mine, we got chatting, and he was like really interested in having a go as well. And I started writing bits then. So this would have been 2009, I guess. Or I can't remember when I came in. So 2009, let's say. And he's a great guy, really good musician, used to be in the band with me, and he's got something that he could be really funny, but he bottled out kind of thing. I won't mention his name or anything, but yeah, he bottled it on me, and I booked and did. I think he came to the show. I booked and did a spiky mic gong. That was my first ever gig.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
cool. So, okay, well done, well done. A Gong was my
yeah,
first ever show, also.
yeah.
So, how did it go?
2 minutes gone. I was off in the first. You get grace of 2 minutes. Spikey's gongs are really nice in comparison with the other ones I've done. And yeah, I did 2 minutes. I was doing jokes about like David Beckham and Jordan's tits and stuff. It was crap. It was
Yeah,
absolute garbage. Um, I can't
hindsight's a
remember.
wonderful thing, man, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember what the material was, but it was awful. And yeah, so I did that one, and then I will be honest though, I still got the bug for it. I still buzzed my tits off doing it, and thought I'm gonna do this. So I did like I think it was a 2 week. It was just one Sunday for 2 weeks.
Right, okay.
I did like a course. I don't think they do it anymore. It was called Friends of the Mirth, run by
Okay.
a guy called Matt Turner, who's long gone off the circuit. He's moved to Canada.
Right.
Um, and it was just basically, basic joke writing stuff. And we came up with our first like 5, 10 minute sets. And then you'll probably know the bush in Cradley Heath,
Yeah.
the Holly Bush, yeah. So we did a showcase show there, and that was kind of my first official gig, I suppose.
Okay. I mean, usually with these courses, they usually bang out a good crowds.
Yeah, there was about 10 of us on the course, and then it wasn't like a bringer thing. It wasn't like you have to bring people to the
Oh,
showcase and stuff.
what's a bringer spot, Chris?
It's a shit spot. I've never done one, mate. I mean, I've only ever done one gig in London, and I think pretty much it's owned by you lot down there, isn't it? The bringer thing.
Oh, Joe, I was going to try and go an episode without talking about it. You know what? Actually, no. I'm going to stand by that. I'm not going to mention bringer. I'm a new person today, Chris. I'm a
Yeah,
new man. I'm a
I've
bold
never done them, never will
bloody
do them.
shit. There you go.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to
yeah,
say. It's a passing joke, and Do the rest of the country laugh at us? Yes. You know, is everything
Yeah.
above, yeah, above the M25? Is it leading comedy? Yes. I'm not going to mention anything else. I'm done. I wonder why I stopped getting booked in London now, to be honest. I have to travel
Bless you.
further afield to get my gigs. Bloody hell.
Well, you have to go. You have to have the courage of your conviction, don't you? When you're doing that, you're saying stuff out here, on this podcast live every. Well, you do one every day or something, don't
Yeah,
you?
daily episodes. But that's why. Oh, did I say that bit? Okay, guys. Before I press record, which I really should have said before. So, guys, just go to your happy place. You're not meant to be hearing this bit. Chris, I don't cut anything. I don't edit anything. I say it's for creative process. It's because I'm a lazy bastard. So if you're going to say anything, say it like on the stage. Say it with conviction. Guys, you're welcome
Exactly.
back in the room. Okay, awesome. There we go. So yeah, I also tag it with. I would love you to do a far right Nazi hate speech because that's clickbait for me. You know, defend yourself at all times, please. There we go. We're now back in the room. Yeah, you've got to, do it. You've got to say stuff with conviction. You've got to own your material.
Push up.
To
Yeah.
be honest, so we started off in 2010. Just after the recession, and before you said you were coming and going a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first started in comedy, I'd gone back to uni as a mature student, so it was easy to kind of get to gigs and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up falling into recruitment. Everybody falls into
Oh, of
recruitment.
course, those who can't do teach. Those who can't teach recruit.
Well, those who can't teach PE, don't they? I'm sure that's the
Oh,
that's the actual phrase. But and then those who can't teach PE fall into recruitment.
so
Uh,
I didn't realise we now involved. There's a without a full stage, not the third stage. Oh,
I think my mate, like, I actually got him a job after this, but he said I was the devil because I was a recruiter. He's like, "You're the fucking devil." He's dead left wing, and he was like, "You're the devil." And then I got him a job after that. So yeah, but yeah, so I fell into recruitment, and the hours, as you know, are stupidly long. So
ridiculous, yeah,
yeah,
ridiculous.
and it was just really tough. Up at 6 in the morning to get to work, and then sometimes not coming home till midnight, one
Yeah,
o'clock from a gig. So something had to give, and I had to pay my mortgage off at that point in time. So it was like I'm going to have to knock it down a bit, and I knocked it down a bit, and then eventually it fizzled out, and I quit. Stupidly at the time when I just started getting like paid gigs. So it was, yeah.
yeah.
I just kind of got up the greasy pole a little bit.
And it
But
is a
yeah, then
greasy pole.
here's a greasy pole.
You
Yeah,
slide that.
yeah,
You slide down in seconds.
yeah. You can, yeah, and I think you've just got to keep going though, and it's like it's the best thing in the world, getting on stage and making people laugh, and it's the hardest thing in the world. Like, I literally have stomach ache before I go on stage. I'm that nervous. Even like, I've done hundreds of gigs, and I'm still dead nervous when I get on stage. But as soon as that first little chuckle, first little laugh, it goes away, doesn't it? But yeah, I did like. My memory's crap as well, so I can't even really remember when I've had bits on and bits off. But I know that, like, obviously you've got COVID in the middle of there, did nothing in that period of time. It was sort of after COVID when I really thought I want to come back, and I came back and did like 10 or 20 gigs one year, 10 or 20 gigs the year
Yeah.
after. And that led us to this November, oh sorry, November 24. And I just said to Jane, I really miss it, and I'm going to go back and do it. And since November, I think I've done 96 gigs.
Woo. I
So
can't be
yeah,
asked to do the maths on that, but that is
yeah, I'll do over 100 in the like the November
yeah.
to
Let's
November.
round out. Okay, should have done another four by hopefully by
Yeah,
then. I
yeah.
mean, is there any notable differences post COVID in comedy, or how the circuit has changed in 15
I,
years?
no, I'm going to be dead honest with you, mate. I thought there was, and I had a chat with John Pearson about this, and I was probably moaning a little bit, saying it's harder out there and this, that, and the other. And John just said because me and John probably started around the same time back then, and he's doing awesome. Um, and he kind of said, it's not changed at all, mate. You can still go out there and say what you want, as long you've just, like you said, you've got to have the courage of your conviction, get on stage and do it. So I don't think there's any differences there. Um, Politically, I don't think it's that much of a difference. When I started, we had a shit Labour government, and now we've
Uh,
got a shit Labour government, and
there's a
whatever's been in
correlation
between.
between you starting comedy and
Yeah,
Labour getting in power, Chris.
yeah.
I mean, I've never wanted to cancel a comedian, but Chris, just you're ticking the bell box a little bit for me now.
Mate, I was a fully signed up Labour member
Yeah,
at one point. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not going into politics, so I
no,
don't do
same,
it.
yeah.
I
But,
avoid it on stage. I avoid it everywhere. And yeah, he basically said you've just got to write material and gig, and he says that so that was a conversation I had like just before I started. Well, I think I'd started back, but just at that point. Um, so he gave me a bit of a kick up the arse really, and made me kind of see, look, just go out there, enjoy what you're doing, and forget about the rest of it, because there's loads of politics on the scene. There's loads of there's people who will moan about not getting gigs because, oh, I do this and I do that on stage. Well, just you've either got to change what you do or change your attitude towards that. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's my dog barking.
that's right. I mean, yeah, I say like I've recently been, targeted for that. But like I say, so you got to say a conviction, and also no one tells a comedian what they've got to not got to say on stage.
Exactly.
So if you go up and you say that material, you need to accept the consequences.
Yeah, I do some bits that get groans, and you've got to have the ability to pull it back from that if that happens, haven't you? You've got to like and I yeah, my stuff's not bad. It's not, and it was a lot worse when I first started out. I
Yeah,
was probably a bit darker and a bit more edgy than I was, and I my kind of goals are to kind of get, I want to work on the comedy clubs and stuff. I'm not an Edinburgh comedian. I don't think I've not really got any plans on doing anything arty farty
yeah.
show wise. If I do an hour, it'll be an hour of stand up, that kind of thing. Um, I've I'm recovering from drink addiction, alcoholism and stuff. So I've been off the booze for 2 years. So
Nice one, brother.
um, yeah, thank you, mate. I'm going to Benidorm in May though, so that could
Oh,
fuck up.
yeah. Out of
But yeah,
Euro a pint, bloody hell. I mean,
yeah,
yeah. Commend in on that one. So like I agree with the Fringe. I'd spoken to some absolutely great comedians like um, Alistair Barry in particular
yeah.
mentions about the Fringe that it's not what it used to be, and getting. I'm going to bring this back round to being like doing the comedy clubs on the circuit. How do you get to that level now?
I don't know if I'm at that level now. I did just a tonic on Saturday. I did a middle 20, and it went really well. I didn't feel out of place in that position at all. Um, I took some good advice from Joe Zalius up north. I don't know if you know Joe, great lad. I did a gig for him. I opened his gig up in Spennymoor in Newcastle a while back.
Yeah,
I didn't die on my arse. I did 20 minutes. I think I did about 22, 23 minutes
yeah,
opening. Um, but I didn't react well. I didn't. It was a little pub. You were stood at the bar. That's where the performance area was. It wasn't a stage. It was just a pub.
hmm
And I got distracted on punchlines quite a bit by the crowd shouting out and this, that, and the other.
yeah,
And so I've worked really hard on making my act stickable in that situation. And I can I can go material into a bit of crowd work into material, and I can weave it quite well now. And I think that's a skill that he said you just need to not be stuck on what your script is,
yes,
not your bum 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 bum. And I think I think since then I've literally gone out and tried to do every spot that I've done, every 10 or 20 or 15, whatever I've done, I've tried to go out as if I'm like the closing act,
right,
and owned that space. And that's the way I think and go out onto stage now. I like go out and I just try and own it. I don't get bothered if people yeah, because if you go to a weekend comedy club, it could be beautiful. It could be just like a normal midweek gig. Everybody's very nice, but it could be rowdy, and
yeah,
I think you've got to be able to do that. And your material's got to be solid as well. You've got to make sure that you work your material well. Um, lots of the stuff that I do, or some of the stuff that I do, I did 10 years ago, but it's completely different. I've reworked it completely, and with the help of like the Adam Bloom book and stuff like that,
Oh, yeah, Finding Your
just
Comic Genius, brilliant book.
just constantly learning all the time. And I can remember a guy when I first came back in November. I was just gigging and gigging and gigging and gigging, and I've got that salesperson mentality when it comes to that, and it is like it's a numbers game. You've got to do loads of gigs in order
Yeah.
to get good at what you're doing.
Well, do you think you've got to treat it like a business?
I absolutely think you've got to treat it
Yeah,
like a
same
business,
here.
unless, I mean, there's you've got to have the love of it. That the thing is, you've got to love doing what you do, and
Yeah,
if you go too far down that this is a business, I want to do this full time, you can kind of get disillusioned. And I think maybe that's what happened to me back in the day. So you've got to be business like,
yeah,
in my opinion. You've got to constantly keep writing the material and keep tweaking and making it better and working on your performance and standing in front of your bathroom mirror or wherever and look a dick to yourself,
yeah,
speaking your lines out, and you've got to gig. You've got to gig and gig and gig. And if it could be just four men and a dog in a pub on a Wednesday night in Barnsley, or it could be on one of Spiky Mike's gigs where it's sold out and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. You've got a gig, you've got to keep doing it. So you've got to be. I'd say you don't have to run it like a business, but you've got to be business like. I think
Okay.
in getting gigs certainly.
Yeah. I mean, like, I try and run the podcast like a business.
Yeah,
Like everything's excelled, every metric target. I like to go up. Fortunately, I'm going up as a compound of 20% every single week. I've done it, and so like, I try and treat it like a business. Same with comedy, but with comedy now, I love doing comedy,
yeah,
but I do comedy for fun. I
yeah,
treat the podcast like a business. I do the comedy for fun.
yeah.
So yeah, you got to still have the love of the game.
Yeah,
Like
I absolutely love it. There's like I've got my own business, as we've said, but I literally do my business now, and I run my business now to fund my comedy hobby.
okay. Have you ever slipped up whilst working, trying to do a bit of crowd work with a candidate or client?
With what? Sorry, I
With
don't.
a candidate or a client, have you ever tried to do a bit of crowd work?
No.
No. You can change your. Okay. See, I have that problem. Like when I'm at, say, at Asda or something, I try and treat the cashier like crowd work.
Yeah, I did. I went to a pub quiz last night, and I did a bit of crowd work with the quiz woman. The questions were just too hard, so I started giving her some shit about it. Um, yeah, but then we won, so it was it worked out in the end. But no,
Uh,
I do tend to try and keep it a little bit separate. But like my friends must know that when we're chatting, having a coffee, I went and met them on Sunday. They must know that I'm trying bits on them a little bit sometimes, and or
yeah.
I'll stop. I stopped the other day, and it was just pure. We were chatting away. I can't even remember what it was, but we were chatting away, and I just stopped and wrote a note on my phone. Got to do something on that. It's like, but yeah. I think everybody that you gig with that's doing well, that they just ooze love for it. There might be a little bit of cynicism and whatnot in there in the green rooms and whatnot, but that you've got to look. I've just seen that. I've just noticed you've got like skeleton dogs fucking in the background.
I do. I do. I've warned them many a times.
Yeah,
I've warned them, but
yeah,
lucky enough, this is all getting changed over the next couple of days. And I'll tell you what, dude, I had a nightmare. So I've bought like a canvas with my sit down and stand up logo to cover the whole back,
yeah,
but my brain just couldn't function correctly. You know, you just have an idiot moment because everything the camera shows is in reverse.
yeah.
So I needed to get the logo in reverse so it looks
Ah,
normal on reflection.
ah, yeah. So you've got to buy a new one.
No, no, no. So I've done it,
You've
designed
done
it,
it. Yeah,
but then I've had to flip it around.
yeah,
So when I look at it like that, it will look weird, but in the camera, it should be on point.
yeah. I'm a bit thick with stuff like this.
Same here, dude. And it's like it's probably so obvious, but it's just couldn't compute it.
Yeah.
But the
I
dogs might stay there. I don't know. I have no control of them. You know, I own two miniature dachshunds. The other two that didn't make it. So,
so I've got a dash hand. He's asleep on my feet.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's a lovely
arseholes,
lad.
aren't they?
He's just funny. He just makes me laugh. He's just stubborn, barky, but the most loving thing I've ever had.
Yeah, the undying loyalty you get from from a dash hound is it's beautiful. Joe, I've never
Yeah.
laughed like him for in my life, but that's depressing. But they are assholes. They
He
are
was
assholes.
he
Yeah.
was at he's been to a couple of gigs with me this week. He came on Friday night when I closed the new gig for Jack King in Nottingham.
Oh yeah, cool.
Um, And well, first of all, the mic conked out as the last act was finishing. So I did my
A
set
cappella.
a cappella, shouty. It went fine. It went fine. And then just at one point, I heard him bark, and he'd barked at one act, who was quite loud and different. He barked at that, but he'd not really barked at anybody else. And then I'm on, and I said something, and started barking at me. I'm like being heckled by my own fucking dog here, and it's like he's a sausage dog. I think my wife went out and thought we'll just get a dog that fits my manly persona.
Yes.
Um, so we've got a dash hand, yeah. But
Oh, they keep your
he's like
feet
my
warm
best
in the
mate.
they keep your feet warm in the winter. The
Ah,
one of my older brother, he's got a dash hound as well, Max. But Max doesn't like shadows, so he'll bark at shadows and stuff. But what we didn't realise is transcribing to he started barking at black people.
oh,
He doesn't
really?
like the dark complexion. So it's like he's just walking around like it looks like I've just got a racist dog.
Oh no. And their origin is German, isn't it? So
Oh, there you go. That fits the narrative. It fits the narrative, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
But it's so going back to MCing, the one I like to ask, and no, not MCing, sorry, doing crowd work. Do you think crowd work is now more required than what it used to be
I think the audiences expect it more now.
from social media and stuff?
Yeah. There's still that I think there's still a legitimate fear of sitting on the front row though, that there's still you find that gap at the front all the time. But I think people like expect it a little bit more with Paul Smith, and I mean John Pearson's amazing at it, he's just awesome. I'm not. If I'm being honest, I'm not. I think I get bored with it, like because I'm not. My set's really conversational, so I talk to the crowd in my set, and
Yeah,
it's and I do that. I don't really class that as crowd work, but like because I emceed the Canal House in Nottingham on Wednesday,
nice. Yeah.
and most of what I did was material. So I
Mm.
do it slightly different to what a lot of MCs do. And I think that is A, because I wanted to test some material out.
Oh, it's good just to try out new minutes, isn't it? I'll quick slip
Yeah,
in a new minute there, new minute there. If they don't like it, I can just bring someone straight on after. Like,
yeah. And I suppose B, because I don't feel confident to go and do a full MCing night just doing crowd work. I'd say mine's 50-50. I can remember I got a really nice back in the day when I first started, me and Scott Bennett used to do a lot of car sharing and stuff.
nice.
He's obviously blown up and he's
Oh, he's great.
amazing. I go,
He does a joke that lives in my head rent free, and it's
yeah,
his granddad calls him or something. He's like, "Get down to Aldi now, 5 yogurts for
yeah,
£3. Thank me later." That
yeah,
lives in my head rent free because my
yeah,
mum used to always do that to me.
yeah,
And
yeah.
great comedian, great
Oh,
comedian.
yeah, and he's a lovely guy as well. We started around about the same time, and because like he blew up really quickly. He's like he went from it was like a hockey curve kind of move.
Yeah,
And we had him to close our Orsworth gig years and years. Well, we had him two or three times, and I asked him for a comment on my MCing, and it was just like he put something like nice balance of crowd work and material. Because
yeah,
I kind of think that a lot of a lot of a lot of the time you've got to get that. you've got to get the people that are listening ready to hear jokes. So I always sling a few in, and I envy the people, the guys that can go up and just do that crowd work. And I've done a couple of like small festival people who are doing their hours. I've gone and opened for them and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And I'm a competent opener. So I am okay. I'm good at talking to people.
yeah, getting the
I
crowd
I get
ready.
yeah. I'm just a little bit like when the words "What do you do for a living" come out of my mouth, I cringe at myself. I think
Yeah,
because where am I going to go with this? And I'm not massively. I think I've got short-term memory issues, and
yeah.
I and I struggle to come back with anything particularly funny. So I kind of I'll do stuff. Crowd work I'll do is I'll intrinsically link it into what I've got.
Well, like close questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do them as well. Like some of my ones I love doing. Like I do a gay marriage bit. I go, is anyone gay in the audience? Someone says yes. Oh, thanks for coming out. It's so cheap and easy.
Yeah.
But you've interacted with them then.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
that's why I like quite going like nearer the end of a bill because you got time to like learn from other comedians. Like learn, okay, so they're over there, that, them over there, that,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, it's always good, isn't it, if you've got a bit of prior knowledge. I always, if it don't matter where I am on the bill, I always try and get there at the beginning. And if possible, I'll stay right to the end. And generally, if it's below 2 hours, I'll stay and watch the headliner because I think for new comedians out there as well, and because I came back in November after such a long break, I still kind of class myself as that.
yeah,
Um, I think you need to stay and watch what the guys are doing in the closing spots because that's where you'll learn how to get to that level.
yeah,
You asked
100%.
a question earlier about getting how do you get to that level, and I honestly believe that it's making sure that you watch how others do it and then you can learn from that, not nick it, not steal anything, but learn
Oh,
from it.
100. Like I've been gigging with a comedian, Dan Springford. He always headlines it, and watching him has made me a better comedian.
Yeah,
It's made me more energetic on stage. My hand movements are now more on point. Like I'm
yeah,
no longer wanking off the mic stand for like 10 minutes. You know, like the simple things that you're like, shit, why am I doing that? Why
yeah,
am I doing that? Like I haven't got to just stand there. Use every bit of stage space you've got.
yeah,
And I only learned that literally about 3 weeks ago by watching this guy. And I think he's only been doing it for 9 months, but watching him do it and be like,
mm,
shit, he's now doing 20-minute headlining in 9 months. Why? I need to learn. And said to him, like, look, you've made me reevaluate. I need to go evaluate and assess my whole material because
yeah,
I've watched the headliners.
yeah.
And they didn't get there. Okay, is there an element of luck in life? Always. But most of it is there's a reason why they're there. And there's a reason why he is the headliner and I'm not.
I
So
think
learn from him.
I, I think when you talk about this is a funny thing. I don't want this to sound corporate because I have worked in corporate and I don't want to ever work in corporate again. But luck's something that happens to people who work hard, as far as I'm concerned. And whether that be like if it let's take Scott as an example. I've never known a comedian work as hard as that guy.
Mm.
Right. I've never seen. There will be others out there. Don't get me wrong. Adam Rowe as
Oh, good
another one.
grafter. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're not seeing them on stage, when they're not posting about the gigs that they've done, and the fact that Scott's got 2 hour shows going at the minute and stuff like that, they'll be writing new material. Um, I think it was Spiky Mike, who said that every time Scott goes and does any of their gigs, he's always got 15 minutes that he's never heard before.
Yeah, which is like
Yeah.
refreshing. Like,
So I think you could be in the right place at the right time, but then
100%.
how have you landed there? You've not just landed there by pure chance, have you? You've had to do some gigs before you've got there, and you've had to write some cracking material, and
Yeah.
it's hard work. It's like people who rise to the top in any industry. You don't just walk in and become a burger flipper at Burger King, and then in the next, in 9 months you're managing that store. You've got to work up and do that. I think, it's what was it? Was it Mickey Flanagan who said that something about he got lucky after gigging 12 years or
Yeah, yeah.
20 years or something.
It took him 12 years to get overnight success.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
which
think that's very true.
100. But I know Jimmy Carr said one, and I will challenge this. I know he said it as a joke, but it was like comedians have the easiest job in the world. They get paid ridiculous money to go up there and speak for 30 minutes.
Mm,
Now, when you're at the end, I will completely agree with that. But the journey, the stuff behind closed doors that no one sees, is, the bit that does make you. Like the
yeah,
consistently writing, consistently trying new material, promoting yourself well. It doesn't happen. You'll get noticed maybe overnight,
yeah,
but the grind that it takes is, it's the journey. And
yeah,
there is an element of luck. Do not get me wrong. There is an element of luck. But in order to win the lottery, you've got to buy a ticket in the first place.
yeah. I mean, you can work like hard to try and get in with a particular promoter, for example, and they just don't like your stuff. That's never going to happen. So
Yeah.
and unless you change your stuff. Um, but I mean,
But should you
I
do that?
I don't know how I think that you can. I think that you could be. There's loads of comedians on the scene that do, for example, children's shows.
Yeah.
And
Good money in
then
that, apparently.
sorry.
There's good money in that, apparently.
Yeah, but
I could never do that. I'd be scared I'd slip up.
so I did, like, when my kids were young, I used to do all their kids' parties and entertain the kids that were there. We just because we're tight as fuck and didn't want to pay for somebody to do it, so we did that. I wouldn't say that it was comedy, but it was entertaining children. And then I've gone on and done really, um, when you've got, I can remember doing a gig in Coventry in 2012, I think it was, and this is a good story, actually. The first bit of it was I'd messaged my wife earlier in the day saying I'm taking you out tonight, and I came in and she was dressed up, and I was taking her to the Coventry Village Hotel
Oh, nice.
to do a gig for Mirth Control,
Brilliant.
which are invariably, um, yeah, there's a variety of possibilities of how good that gig's going to be. That's politically worded, and
Yeah.
and I still stand by the fact that this was the best gig I've ever done. We got there and it was 300 people in there, hen stag doos, rowdy as anything. And the opener went on. The MC didn't really do a very good job of getting the crowd warm, but it was a very tough room to warm up. The opener
Yeah.
went on, started doing okay, and then kind of committed suicide on stage. Just started negging himself out, if you know what I
Right,
mean.
got in his head, yeah. Game
Yeah,
over already, yeah.
yeah, so the MC came to me at the break and said, if just do five and get off if you want to. And I'm like, okay, no worries. So I went on, I did 17, 18 minutes because the other open spot had cancelled. So they'd originally asked me to do longer.
Right.
Um, and it was just, yeah, and because it was like a hen and stag do, it was a bit rude and crude. So you've got like, I think you can, I don't think you should change what you do and what you love doing. You don't want. I don't think you should sell out to that level,
Hmm.
but you can word your material differently for different audiences.
Yes.
Like I wouldn't have like if I was doing the Blessington carriage in for Spikey, I wouldn't do that in the same way that I did the Coventry gig because he'd probably never book me again, and it wouldn't the crowd wouldn't. They're all kind of a middle to later age. They wouldn't have gone with that. So I don't think you should sell out. But it's all about versatility. You've got to be versatile to what audience. And I always used to prejudge a crowd. If I turned up to a gig and it was like really, really middle class or sort of an older crowd, I used to get in my head and I'm like, I'm not gonna do very well here. I'm not gonna do great. Now I feel that I can perform to students up to my mum and dad's age if needs be. So I don't think you should change your set to please one promoter. And if you've got to do that, then there's lots of others out there. Just because comedy's completely subjective, and not everyone's going to like what you say. And you're you've got to stay true to yourself,
Yeah.
but versatility in your own material is more than possible.
Oh yeah, and like the jokes you tell at the pub in comparison to the jokes you tell your nan
Hmm.
are, two very different things. And yeah, you do need to be versatile. But I always think like when I started, I got told this advice and I never took it. But I respect the promoter. Said if you want more gigs, you've got to be more universally accepted. You've got to do more general material. Whilst I respect that opinion, that's not me. That's not me being true to myself.
Hmm.
Like I want to joke about what I want to joke about, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And I just need to accept that outcome.
Yeah.
To be
And
honest.
I think yeah, you've got to be true to yourself. And
Mm.
if you don't find it funny, why is it even getting on the pad? It's one of those things, isn't it? Originally you're going to covet what you know, so it's going to be the stuff that you find funny, and but the stuff that you find funny, you've obviously nobody comes into comedy if they've not looked at other comedians doing stand up.
Mm.
So there's people out there that are doing what you find funny and are universally acceptable. So how can anyone turn around to you and say your material's not universally acceptable?
But then could I'm playing devils here. Is it, it must be a lot easier when you've got your people. When people come for you because they know what you're about. But when you're playing a room where no one's ever heard of you, would it be better to do universally better material because it's more pleasing the crowd?
You're definitely right in the fact that, if you've got a following and you're selling out arenas, that nobody's going to go who doesn't like you, apart from the
Yeah.
plus ones who've kind of been dragged along, I
Yeah.
suppose.
The
Um,
bringers.
yeah. What I would say to you though is that you walk, and this is certainly something that I went through as well. I think we've been on a pretty similar journey. I was a little bit close to the bone and sometimes over it a little bit when I first started, I think. How can you tell that person in the audience isn't going to like what you're going to say? It'll be the most unlikely people that like I do a bit about like the C word, and I'll shout out what do we think of the C word? And there's always, always, always a woman will scream, I love the C word. And you
Yeah.
would imagine that that's the opposite. The whole stereotypical bollocks is all that they don't, women don't like you talking about that. And yeah, it goes in a totally different direction. But, y- you know, how can you say, like, if you've got a student, a middle-aged person, a working class person, a middle class person, and a granny, somebody who's of pension age, you might think, oh, this is not going to work with the student. They might be the only one that laugh at that joke. So you can't. I don't think you can prejudge an audience. You've just got to go out and do what you've done. The amount of times that I've stood there and I've said to a promoter, "Is there anything they don't like in this room?" and this, that, and the other, and they'll go, "No, no, no, just do what you like." You
Do you
know.
have some like filters? Not filters. Do you have some? Oh, what's the bloody word? I'm just gonna say it as like man words come out mouth. Do you have like bits in your bit? Fuck me. Bits in your comedy where sort of like your engagers. So I'm gonna dip my water a little bit in the. I'm gonna dip my toe in the water a little bit here. See how they gauge. Okay, they liked that. I can now go further down this rabbit hole.
Yeah. So I've got some jokes that sometimes I'll cut short if so I've got a couple of gags where it'll go down a certain dark route, and if it sometimes I like it if it gets a bit of a groan and a bit of silence because I can bring it back. But certainly there's bits where if they don't react well, then I will taper it down further down the line,
Okay.
and maybe drop a couple of bits and replace.
Okay, I like that. And going back to MCing, one thing I got told, and I couldn't agree with this more. You've MC'd. I like the fact you do like your bits on stage, not as much crowd work, because I think with some MCs they think they're the show, where it's
Yeah,
their job to be the hype person, sorry, for the comedians.
yeah,
But now being said, let's say you're MCing and I'm on the bill, okay? Let's say it's okay. I'm on the bill. I'm not before a break. Okay, so there's another comedian on after me. I go on and I absolutely bomb. I offend everyone. I come off to booing. Everyone hates me. As the compare, how would you bring the room back?
You have to acknowledge it, don't you? In a way, but I think in a nice way. Mate, if you're a newer act, probably say something like, "Ah, this newer act is a few gigs in, da da da," and then I would probably tell some jokes.
Hmm.
Um, Speak to a few people, maybe. I'd probably just do a little bit of material, and I'd probably tailor that material to what the next act looks like, um, what their kind of persona is. Um, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not happened
Yeah, I know it's not.
massively.
I know it's not frequent, and it's proper on the spot. But
Yeah, but I think I would tell. My general when I MC, I kind of do 50-50. So I'll do 50% crowd work and 50% material. If that goes different to that, it's probably more material.
yeah,
And I think and I have had it. I had it at the Canal House MCing, and one of the acts had not gone. He'd not bombed, but he'd lowered the energy in the room. And I think I literally just got back on stage, said it's a newer act, and just told a couple of quick fire gags,
hmm.
and just got them back laughing quite quickly. Just bring the energy back in the room, because I think that, like you've just mentioned there, that like the MC's job's not to be the hype man and whatnot. I think there's a
No, the job is
varying.
to be the hype man.
Sorry, it is to
Yeah,
be the
yeah.
hype man.
Not
Yeah,
not not to
yeah.
be, you know, the
Not to
show.
be the best, not to
Yeah,
be the show. Yeah, and I think there's varying opinions on how that is, because I think the one thing that people say is, you're the MC, you're not there to be the best act on the bill. That's the act's jobs to do that.
yeah,
But you will have some acts who will MC and say it's the comedian's jobs to be good, not my job to dumb down to their level, so to speak. So
true.
I've yeah,
True.
so I've had that a few times where someone's gone on and bombed or whatever. I think if they tell like a joke that the crowd have quite clearly found inappropriate, I would reference that straight
Yeah.
away.
Well, I
Um,
think I think if you do a bad joke and if you bomb on stage, like the one I always do, go. You didn't like that one, did you?
yeah,
Address it there and then.
yeah, you've
So
got. I
you know,
think.
like you're aware. Like so many comedians, they'll double down,
Mm,
and then I've noticed that. And well, no matter what you say, people try and cancel me still. So sod it.
yeah.
Oh yeah. But the one thing you don't do, Chris, is go and try and slate a comedian online in front of the world to see. All
No,
right.
I think that's bad form. Because you know, it's got to be down to the bookers and the promoters who you get gigs with. Um, I, I saw one the other day which was naming. I think there's a culture for naming people, and that there's a lot of stuff that goes on the scene that should be outed,
Look,
as we
dude,
know. But
things like SA, 1,000,000%. Call
yeah,
them motherfuckers out. But
but jokes, they're jokes
yeah,
at the end of the day. And yeah, take somebody to one side and say, look, mate, that either that could be improved and done differently, or do you really want to keep doing that? Do you really want, and then if you go, yeah, I do, fuck off, then let you crack on with it.
yeah,
It's one of those. But I think there's certain things nowadays, certain subjects where people will kind of jump out and go, you can't say that, you can't do that. And that's someone's opinion again at the end of the day. And I don't want, I'm completely I posted, I'll be dead honest, I posted something out. I thought, and it was literally a repost years and years ago. And it was I don't even know why I did it, but I got a load of shit for it. I reposted it, and it's not even my opinion. I just found it a little bit funny, and it was if I had £1 for each gender, I'd have £2. And I reposted that, and I got loads of shit for it. And look, I've got loads of friends who, I've got since being on the scene who are trans and stuff, and
Yep.
I've got no issue with anybody
No.
whatsoever. I was brought up in that kind of era. My parents were are probably well, they're not PC,
Yeah.
and they're not PC and proud. They say what they want. It's a different time,
Mm.
um, but there was people are being outed for that kind of stuff, and I think in my opinion that probably should be. Don't go out to offend anyone
No.
is the way that I view it, because who's got any right to say what people can do in their own personal lives, and you don't know who you're offending. I
Mm.
think the best way to put this, because I'm rambling a little bit here, mate, sorry,
That's right.
is you don't know what any person has gone through in their life. I suffer massive depression issues, and you can tell as many depression, anxiety, suicide jokes as you like. That's like my personal journey. I've
Yeah.
done all of those things are in my thing.
You got the
And I've
bingo card for it, for us.
Yeah, and I've told jokes about suicide,
Mm.
about myself,
Yeah.
and got groans in an audience, for example, and I'm telling it about myself. So you never know what other people are going through in their lives, and the last thing I would ever want to do is trigger somebody to do something that's going to hurt themselves or anybody else.
A million
So
percent. You don't know what journey everyone's going through.
ex absolutely, absolutely that. But like going back to outing somebody for telling a joke, I think you take them to one side and you say, "Look, mate," and you have a chat, don't you? You
Yeah.
have a conversation. In no other profession in the world, probably would you, apart from show businessy type professions, like if we were working together as in recruitment, I would never go online and put on Facebook something that you've done at work.
Yeah. But also imagine if somebody was 4 months in
Yeah,
and then they do that about somebody. I mean, like, I've addressed it, the special I did on it will come out, it's already out, so now I'm
yeah.
sure that will go swimmingly. So, I always go with the
I look
special.
forward to seeing it. Yeah.
No, it's already out, Chris. It's been out for 21 days now.
Oh, okay, okay.
By the time this episode comes out.
Right.
There we go. I'm trying to pretend.
Okay, okay. It's
So,
already out. Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
it's
It's
already out.
great.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. I enjoyed it.
Oh, chef's kiss, isn't it? Well, star reviews. But I would always say that I will ask the question: can you joke about anything?
You can, can't you? You can joke about absolutely anything you want, because what comes out of your gob is your business.
Mm.
Um, you've got to do it well. You've got to tell the joke well. You've got to make sure that it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I don't. I avoid doing anything majorly contentious because
So do I. That's the weird thing. I wrote. I'm not going to lie to you. I wrote a. I always say. First of all, with the joke bit, you can say anything you want, but you got to respect the outcome of what is said. Like
yeah,
people could have viewed to dislike it, like it, whatever. That's their opinion. But as I said, I write Muslim jokes, gay jokes, trans jokes. I wrote a joke about Charlie Kirk. Now, I would never say them, I would never say it, but I give them to other comedians. And it's like, because that's
yeah.
not my persona on stage. That's what I found so funny about this. It was such a mild joke. Like, but I don't think you
There's,
should ever stop the creative process. If you can find funny in something, find it, write it down. You haven't got to go say it, but don't
yeah.
ever deter or try and halt your own creative mind.
Yeah, the thing with like the Charlie Kirk thing is you well, same with anything really. There's always going to be opposing points of view on it.
Yeah.
Um, and I put a little bit of a post about Charlie Kirk and whatnot, and like my opinion is no one deserves to die for having an opinion.
Yeah, for freedom of speech. A million percent.
Um, I don't agree with the stuff he was saying, but it's he didn't. His family and his kids and all that kind of stuff don't deserve to mourn a death.
Hmm.
But if he'd have had his tongue cut out so he couldn't talk anymore, I'd probably be fully behind it.
Hmm.
And you're always going to have two opposing sides to that. to that argument, aren't you? So no matter what you do, you're going to have 50% of the people who are going to laugh with you, and 50% of the people who are going to hate on you. I was driving to a gig the other day, and I was thinking of kind of just saying, that there's a big hoo-ha about Charlie Kirk and this, that, and the other. But I love everything he says now.
Yeah. Well, the one I can't stand is at the end of the day, every single person and everyone in the world is guilty of this. We're all so selfish. We would all say, how can I, internally, we might not accept it to ourselves, how can I personally capitalize on this?
Yeah,
The people against him
yeah,
have done it. The people for him have also done it.
yeah,
They've gone on a public platform and said their opinion, hoping to capitalize on it because they want to get the views. Everybody is a dopamine whore.
yeah,
And that is the sad reality of life now. Social media is massively to blame for this. Like
yeah.
they'll say their input to say, how can I reap the most benefit from this? Do I need to look like I was against him and happy about it? Or do I need to look upset about this? The internal process. And that is just, yeah, it's just life, to be honest. And we're all
I mean,
whores,
yeah.
basically.
I mean, my opinion on that particular person is that I'm not happy about him being dead.
Million percent.
But then what? There's people out there that agreed with what he said, and there's people that didn't, and you know that kind of you can say whatever you want, can't you? But it's down to how do you want to be viewed? What do you want? What do you want your like? For example, your children may see
I
your
don't have
comedy,
kids, thank God.
or your family, parents might see your comedy. What would you be happy with them thinking about you? And I'm I'm with you on the fact that you've what's in your head, what you find funny's got to be like the way that it starts and the way that you start creating your art, your set, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but then you wouldn't. Would you like go and do? Would you walk up to somebody in the street and tell that joke to one
No,
person?
no, never.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah. So it's one of them, isn't it? It's a very the thing that has changed on the scene since I kind of first started back in the day is that social media has gone further. There's a lot more awareness about stuff. There's a lot more support for people in minority groups out there, whether that be professional or kind of the collective us who are out there. And for me, I just don't. I My personality is that I don't want to offend anyone at all.
Yeah.
Um, but on the note of that, you've got to think about, well, should somebody be offended by that? Is it even offensive to tell could the gay community be offended by your any gays in? Thanks for coming out. Realistically, would anyone ever be offended by that joke? No,
I mean, some people would be, but the thing I like to challenge on that is that I never in my life have I ever been offended over a joke.
no,
You could say anything you want about me as a stereotype. Like I said, if you was walking down the street and you were like, "Oh, you're a fat prick," I'll tell you that personally. I'll be like, if you like, what's your problem, mate? But if you did a fat joke on stage, I wouldn't care.
no.
But then it's why I don't give a shit. There's nothing in my life that I would get that offended about that I would have to publicize it. To be honest, I mean, like
Yeah.
you're living life on easy mode. If you get time to get offended over them things. But
See, the thing is, if I walked up to you in the street and I went, "You're a fat prick,"
how dare you? We're
yeah,
getting on so well, Chris.
you're gonna get offended by that. But
Yeah,
if we were sat in a pub and we'd known each other for 10 years, and I went, "You're gonna get a beer, you fat prick," you're not gonna be offended by that
no, not at all.
because
Not
you're
at
not
all.
gonna be offended by that. So it's all yeah, it's the situation that you're in, isn't
And
it? And
I think, what is it? There's what's the film? I can't remember what the film is. Shit, well, Is it? No, that's not legend. Anyways, it's basically like where it comes from. If it comes from a place of love, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It is all how it's said, when it's said. Yeah, like the intention behind it
yeah.
is is sort of the big thing. But going on that one, Chris. I love asking this question. You're doing it for a while. What's the worst thing you've ever seen someone do on stage?
Worst thing. I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's a proper on the spot, that is.
Yeah,
Um, I'll say something about the worst. I think this was a really good thing, but it was bad, right? So it was a friend of mine, um, really good friend of mine, and he took a gun on stage with him,
brilliant.
like with blanks in it. And the opening joke was, he might even see this. The opening joke was, "Do you want to hear something shocking?" And then he fired this blank into the audience.
Fucking hell, right.
Yeah. Um, he did that at a Gong show. I think he got gonged off.
Oh, yeah, Joe, I would have guessed that one, to be
He's a
honest.
really funny guy,
Yeah,
actually. I mean, he's not done comedy for a long time, and he's a lovely bloke. Um, but he was a little bit like, "Don't give a fuck, I'm going to do it." And yeah,
really
that's
upset.
probably not that. It was. I pissed myself laughing,
Yeah.
but he told me before that he was thinking of doing it, so I'd kind of prepared myself. But he did it at the Comedy Store,
What
Gong
one?
show, and at Manchester, I think.
Right, okay, cool.
And I think he got gonged immediately off for doing it there. I think he had an argument with the MC who gonged him off. But yeah, that's probably the most shocking thing I've seen on stage. Um, I can't think of anything really horrendous.
How do you write a 5 minute bit around that? Because you can only do it once.
What the
The
well,
sh-
it was just his opening joke, and then he went,
yeah.
and then he goes into other stuff.
But I say start with your
Um,
strongest.
yeah, I,
Like,
I think when I think when you first start, and I was certainly definitely guilty of this. I did go for the shock
yeah.
comedy value. That was probably just maybe a step too far, but yeah, he's lovely. I saw him the other week. He's a great lad. But yeah, that's probably the most memorable thing that's happened on stage. I was emceeing a gig once, and a woman turned around to one of the acts and said, "I really want to shoot you."
Okay.
And she was like, it pretty much seemed like the gig had gone all right all night, and then the act was on, and she said, "Either I want to shoot you or I want to kill you." Um, and
So you're not
that
going to
that
shoot to
was
kill? Oh, are we doing a wound? Like,
one of the it was the wording was either shoot or kill, and yeah, that was pretty horrific.
what, an audience member said this or the compare?
No, I was comparing. I was the MC, and
Right.
yeah, so one of the audience, it was a female audience member said it.
What
But
about
yeah,
you or
that
an act?
about one of the acts. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can't remember how I dealt with it.
That's
But yeah, that was pretty bad. But other than that, I can't. Honestly, it's been pretty nice. It's been pretty cool and all right. Yeah,
okay. So let's go personally then, Chris. Then you said it's been nice. I don't like that answer at all. What time have you bombed the hardest personally then?
bombed the hardest. I've not had many recently. Um, I don't think this was like bombing hard, but the one that I've not been able to let go of until recently was Jongleurs in London.
Right.
I did a tryout spot in London. I'd class this as like the worst one for me because I got to a level like on the local circuit where I was doing really well, and I was, doing 15s and 20 minutes
Yeah.
closing the small rooms, emceeing loads. Got to a stage where I thought, yeah, I'm gonna give it a go, and I messaged Jongleurs, got a tryout spot. I mean, there was a Jongleurs in Nottingham, but they put me on at the one in London, and I definitely think there's a difference in humour level, yeah, difference of what people like down there and what they
Oh,
like up here.
yeah, what I joke about in Essex is different to what I joke about in London.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
So me and my wife went down to London. Got on the National Express, went down to London. We stayed in a hostel, which was fucking awful.
Mm.
Um, and then I went and did the gig. And the way that they used to do it was you'd have your MC, 20-minute opener and 20-minute closer. And then in the middle, you'd go and do your 10-minute trial spot just before the middle 20 act.
Yeah.
And I got laughs all through the set, but it was like it was almost like when you turn the volume up on your stereo. I was like a one, and the other acts were like a nine or a 10.
Yeah.
So although they laughed with me and it was okay, because the other acts were so much better, they'd got so much more energy and rolling laughter.
Mm.
But I think that like then, so that I think is. I don't think it was like it wasn't like I've never had a gig where I've played to complete silence. That's never happened to me.
Okay.
I don't think. I can't remember. If that has ever happened, it's in the locker that I'll never want to open again. But I don't think it ever has. I've played to tepid rooms, um, and some of the best ones have been when it's been smaller rooms.
Yeah.
And the energy because it's easy to get the energy flowing and this and the other. But that Jonglers one, and that and I only got over that. I said to my wife on the way home on Saturday, I'm over Jonglers now. And that happened 12 years ago.
Mm.
And I'm over it now because I've played like a weekend club night, gone in the middle, done 20 minutes, done well. And I can forget about that now
Mm. And you
because,
outlasted junglers.
yeah,
Point one, yeah.
yeah. Someone said to me that they're starting booking again, but I
I,
don't
I've
know.
I've heard that also.
Yeah. That was
Right.
the only gig I ever did for Jonglers. I got rebooked in to do another trial though on that
Mm.
in Nottingham, but that was around the time that I gave it up. So I didn't do it. But yeah, uh, it's horrible when you come off stage and you're not like, you've been the worst act of the night. I think that's
Yeah.
probably and that happens. When you start moving up as well, you can be on a new act, new material night and hold your own with all those. And then you start getting like a middle 10 on a pro bill.
Mm.
And the other 10 does really well and you don't do as well as them. And then obviously you've got two pro acts opening and closing and you're like, that's not been a good night. But
Yeah.
it's all about scale, isn't it?
Of course,
You've
and
got,
that's how you get there. You've got to be the
yeah,
smallest. You end up becoming the biggest fish in a small pond, then you've got to become the smallest fish in
yeah,
the big pond. It's
yeah.
how you've got to progress. And
And the audiences expect that anyway. They know that the two 10-minute spots in the middle are the ones that are newer to the scene. They know that the opener and the headliner are going to be the better. And I don't think people should let that deter them. Just go and be ballsy. Um, I took some good advice from people when I came back this time from some good friends who are pros on the circuit and whatnot. And um, I think that's and people are willing to help you in that way. People are happy to help you with that kind of advice.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's the gig that's given me nightmares for 12 years.
Mm. Look,
So I'll
fair
say
enough.
that.
No, fair enough. All right, but yeah, it's good that we're now over it. So
Yeah,
point,
we're
point
over
one,
it.
point one to you, Chris. Hang on. I'll end it with this one. I always end it with this one. Someone's never done comedy before. They're thinking of doing stand up for the first time. They come to you for advice. What would you say to them? And you can't say just do it.
No, no, because that'd be remiss, wouldn't it, to just
Mm.
tell them to do it. I'd probably ask them why they want to do it
Okay.
first, and what's the reasoning, um, what's the goal, really. And then I would tell them to just write all their ideas down onto a pad, all the stuff they do every day, um, stuff they hate, stuff they love, stuff that freaks them out, and just start thinking about what could you pull out of that makes it funny. I would certainly advise that if they can get some, I used Judy Carter's book back in the day. That was my starter for 10. Um, and it just gives you basic joke writing techniques, you know. I'd tell them to do that, and then I would just say, get to write your 5 minute, write 3 to 5 minutes as quickly as you can, and then just go and. I would not advise them to do a gong show straight away. That was a mistake
That
for
was my
me.
first one as well, dude. Comedy Store London. King Kong was my first. Like,
Wow, yeah, I
yeah.
beat the King Gong in Manchester.
Well done.
I did that
That's the most brutal, in my opinion, on Gong Shows.
years ago. Yeah, the one I can't get through is Frog and Bucket, mate. I've even now I've done I've done the Frog this year and I did it last year, and I've got to about 4 minutes and not
Really?
just not got through. But I'm probably not going to do that for a good well, if I ever do it again, I'm not going to do it. I'm not a fan of gong shows.
No.
But they are a means to an end. And I'd probably, there's like really, if they were in this area, you've got so many like little gigs like Ben Davies, Funny Sides, get a spot on there, do 5 minutes. Spitfire in Stoke with Kim and Nick.
Oh, don't get started on Kimberly. Oh, I
All
love her.
right.
I love her. I
Yeah,
love
she's
her.
grand, isn't
She
she?
is amazing. I have so much time with Kim. She's become a very, very close friend of mine.
Yeah,
And
she's lovely.
I'm traveling up to Stoke in next month. This month.
Are
I've
you gonna
probably
go and
already
do?
been. I've probably already been.
You've been,
Uh,
haven't you?
I've
Yeah, yeah,
already
yeah.
been. It
You
was
you
love.
you were great, mate.
I
You were
killed it. I
great.
killed it. Yeah. No, all
But
of it.
that
All of
that
it. Spitfire. I'm amazing.
yeah, that Spitfire Tuesday night gig is. I'd definitely advise anyone new to go and do that, because you can do 5 minutes. They're not bothered, and it's you'll get a few audience members in, but there'll be at least like 9 or 10 comedians there, because even if they're not on the bill, comedians will turn up. And you can go up there and you can just say your set 5 minutes, and they'll let you do that.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And then uh, get you. I when I came back and in November, I went and did 10 minutes there. Then the following week, I did 10 minutes there, two different 10 minute sets. And then they invited me to MC it, so I MC'd it, and then I went back and did a 15 minute, and I've done another 10 there, and that's all in one year, like in a 12-month period.
Yeah.
They're just such a lovely bunch of people, so
Yeah.
supportive. It's inclusive. That they're just a great bunch of people. So I definitely advise people to go and do that. Helen's gig, the NCF Canal House, and it's an amazing room for like it's not like you walk in and it's like, this is a new material, new act, new material. No, it doesn't look like it. I emceed it on Wednesday. There's 70 people in there. You've always got a capable MC, and there'll be
And if not, you do it.
if not it was a last minute. It was a last minute, to be fair. I was gonna go and watch the gig, because I'd got a night off on Wednesday. I did like 6 gigs out of 7 last week, and
Oh, yeah.
um, I've got only got a couple this week. And if anyone, this ain't going to go out in time, is it? But yeah, book me. Yeah, but yeah. So there's that. There's Ben Davies does Funny Sods. And there's like Jack King's just started a monthly new act, new material night. It's on a Friday. It shouldn't work, but it did. It's in a separate room, and there's just a lot of new material nights now. Ollie Clark runs some up in Sheffield if it's local. I don't know
Yeah.
anything. I don't know many south really. I mean, there's Luke Harroward does some new act, new materials in Peterborough area. There's Leicester. There's loads of them about. So I would just literally say, my personal thing is, write all your ideas, funny stuff that happens to you. Just never not have a notepad or your phone. Do it on your phone. Write any ideas that you have. And I got a book. It was like Judy Carter's Comedy Bible, I think it's called. I got that. It was an old book, and then I got it again on Audible, when I started again, just to get my head back into it. The Adam Bloom book we've already mentioned is
Yeah.
fantastic. I'm not sure how I'm not sure for a new comedian that'd be the first book I'd go to, but that's definitely the book that I'd go to now.
Okay.
And just gig as much as you can. And if you bomb, enjoy it. Because like that Jonglers one, it wasn't enjoyable because it kind of it was a bomb, but it put me in my place as well. And nobody likes that, do they?
No,
It's
no,
like,
it's the humbling, and you learn more from bombing than you do
yeah,
from smashing it.
yeah, enjoy it, and you can enjoy bombing. It is funny when you bomb,
Yeah.
when you don't get the reaction that you think you're gonna get. And then you hear people saying that act was a bit shit. I've had that a few times where you the toilet and you get to
Uh,
the toilet and they go, he was a bit rubbish, wasn't he? But
uh.
yeah, just go and gig as much as you can and write every day is my opinion.
I love that. True, honest advice, and you did a good couple name drops of places to look at to going into.
Definitely, yeah, definitely, and yeah, just ask other comedians for advice as well. I don't think there's many that are going to tell you to fuck off on that one. People like to help.
Hmm.
I've helped a few newer acts with bits of material and that they've got stuck on, or how can I make this better and stuff. There's always people who are going to be willing to help you do stuff. Like I say, John Pearson was a massive help to me. Ricky Balshaw's been a massive help to me. Joe's Alias. I feel remiss now because there's people out there there's loads of people that I've chatted to and have helped me. And it's a nice, whatever people tell you, it is a nice scene if you pick the right people and if you're nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, it's quite important. Find your community. Also,
Exactly.
and then
100%.
and that's great. Right, Chris, absolutely brilliant for coming on. Cheers, man. Thoroughly enjoyed this, and hopefully, yeah,
You
when I
too,
travel
mate.
up north, I'll let you know when I'm doing Spitfire, and I'll force Kim to make sure you're with me on it.
Yeah, I'd love that'd be great, mate. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be cool. Yeah, I want to get up there soon because they're changing venue, aren't they? So,
Yes, they
be
are.
nice to
And
see that.
I've been told a bit of hidden stuff about they're also looking at. Well, I won't mention it, but yeah,
No, no.
Kim's doing weird and wonderful things. Love her,
Yeah.
and Nick as well. Sorry, give Nick his love as well.
Oh, Nick's awesome.
Yeah,
Great bloke. Really great bloke. They
but yeah,
all are up there.
yeah. But Kim's my girl. Love her to
Yeah.
bits. So,
If you can get into that community and make friends with those people, then you'll always have a shoulder to cry on and someone to lean on, and they'll always help each other out. Those guys are great.
oh, 1,000,000%. Right, Chris, thanks for coming on, man.
Nice
Totally
one,
enjoyed
brother.
it. Cheers,
See you
dude. Thanks,
soon,
everyone.
Dan. Bye
Bye.
bye.